going on, people? Welcome back to Curtis Shaw TV, back with another live stream. Happy Monday, people. And it's a good Monday, people. Every day is a good day, but of course, as an Arsenal fan, it's a good day when you've won the Community Shield the day before. And, you know, there's a lot of salty fan opinions around again, people. It's only a pre-season friendly. You shouldn't have even been in it. You only came second. It's it doesn't mean anything. It's not even a trophy. It's a dinner plate. All of that. I don't know where all of this hate comes from, people. When Liverpool beat Man City last year, I gave them, yeah, man, well done. You beat Man City. When Arsenal win it, the salt comes out from everywhere. It's a meaningless game. It doesn't mean anything. Nobody's interested in it, but I don't mind. If nobody cares about it, I'd rather we win it than don't win it. Because I tell you something, if we'd have lost the game yesterday, what would the narrative have been? You lot still can't beat Man City. You lot blah, blah, blah. Spent 200 million. City beat you without De Bruyne. This, that, the other. Man are telling me it's a dinner plate to us. It don't even count as silverware. I'm cool. I'd rather win it. Do you know what? I'd rather they hate us, because they didn't hate us when we was 8th. They laughed at us. Maybe they hate us now because they know that we're back. I'm content with it, people. I don't mind. What did that guy say in American Gangster? He said you can be successful and have enemies. Or, you know, maybe the enemies are starting to come back. Salt Bay Guardiola, you know what I mean? Beer salty. Green screen settings today. I thought I had to give this guy some props. Today. This brother, Leandro Trossard, what a player, by the way. £25 million. Let me give credit where credit's due. This guy's a baller. Sick celebration as well. But yeah, we got a lot to talk about today anyway, people. Transfer news, ins and outs, looking ahead to the Premier League season. And of course, we'll look back on the Charity Shield win. I'm happy, people. I'm happy. I don't care what anyone says. I enjoyed yesterday. And not necessarily just winning the Community Shield. It was the fact that I felt like we were there with Man City yesterday. I felt like you looked at two very good teams on the football pitch. And yeah, that was the positive for me. One thing I can really say, and listen, I'm going to give Arteta some credit. People think I never give him credit. I do when it's due. I really enjoy watching this Arsenal team at the moment. That's one thing. That's the biggest thing that I can say about this Arsenal team is I enjoy watching this team. We move the ball well. We're confident. We're good on the ball. We look like we can open teams up. I enjoy watching this team. The thing I keep saying with this team is the difference between a good team and a great team is the silverware. Good teams play good football. Great teams win big trophies and also play good football as well. That's what this team needs to do now, is continue to win and win silverware. But listen, big up to everyone tuned in. Really appreciate it. Thank you to everyone who watched the watch along yesterday. And I think we got 3,000 likes. Make sure you hit a like on today's video. Subscribe if you haven't already and all of that good stuff, people. Big up the whole C-Unit community. Yeah, we definitely went toe-to-toe with them. And that was the positive for me. I'm sick of getting little broed by Man City. We're looking like the big brother just beating up the little brother. It wasn't that yesterday, you know. We had the better opportunities, really. I would say probably the Foden opportunity was their biggest. Even their goal was a half chance, really. So I took a lot of positives out of that performance yesterday. Bossard says, go to Nelly. Nick said prize money, Carabao Cup 100k, the Shield is 650. There you go, man. There you go. How about the robot was put on toast? He was, but I can't. Even during the game, I was like, you know what? I'm not going to say much about Haaland. Number one, because I was afraid that he could score if he had a decent chance. Number two, the brother just scored 50 goals. What can I really say about him? You know, he turns up when it matters, really. We will do the Fantasy League. I'll get that sorted out. I'll set that up tonight. We'll get it done for tomorrow's show. Hopefully, I do better than last year. I came like 2,500 out of about 3.5k. I had a stinker. Let me read these quick super chats. Red Smoke. Big up, Big C. Great win against City yesterday, albeit a friendly. We can't celebrate too much. Fun Police be at man's door. Just want to say how good was Timber. Wow, real baller. Great signing. Yeah, you know, over-celebrating only seems to be a problem when it's Arsenal. But it is what it is. Let them hate us, people. Big up Red Smoke. Big up Matthew Ryan. Maybe Matt Ryan, the goalkeeper who used to play for us. Big up with the super sticker. Big up Alfred. We aren't our ancestors. Alabama, that's all I'm going to say. Hope the community is doing well. Big up to you, Alfred. And big up Black. We got the plate. Now it's time to break the curse. And you're right. You know, let's beat Man City in the league. I think the last time we beat Man City, outside of yesterday, was the FA Cup semi-final, when we beat them during COVID lockdown time. So Monty said, I help you with your team. I might need it. You know, that picture as well. Unbelievable. They're the dark days. I was putting cones on my head during Arteta out shows. We've come a long way. We've come a long way. More than you can believe, people. More than you can believe. Pep complaining about extra time means he's a bit shook. I always say, when you get Pep annoyed, means you're doing something right. And Pep was not happy after the game. Rodri's penalty was awful. I'm so glad that Rodri missed the penalty. He's constantly getting away with fouls. He doesn't get booked. It couldn't have happened to a nicer person. I'm sorry. Rodri missing was beautiful. That was pure beauty. Let's have a quick look over yesterday's game. I'm not going to do player ratings. I'm just going to briefly kind of skip over the game because, you know, even though everyone's hating on us, I'll take it. It was a good feeling, which is why I always say don't dismiss any trophy. I would take the Carabao Cup. I'll take the FA Cup. Trophies, Wembley. That's what it's all about. So Arsenal won 4-1 on penalties after drawing 1-1 during the game. Cole Palmer, 77th minute. Trossard equalises in the 101st minute. One thing I love about Trossard, he pulls the trigger. Gets around the area, he's looking to shoot. Left foot, right foot. Sometimes you shoot, you get deflections, you get those type of goals. I thought it was an intriguing game. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a very tactical, very, you know, well thought out, planned out game. Manchester City edged it, 55% possession. Let me zoom in on that a little bit. It's probably quite hard to see. Arsenal had 8 shots. City had, City had 8, Arsenal had 7. They had 4 on target, we had 3. 45% possession for us. 485 passes, theirs was 590. 88% pass accuracy for both teams. 3 yellow cards for us, 1 for them. The referee, I'm not going to talk about him for too long. I don't like to focus on refs. But let's keep it quite simple and let's keep it 100. The referee yesterday was absolutely dreadful. And anyone who tunes into this channel a lot knows I'm very much against blaming refs. In fact, I've argued with Arsenal fans before when we've lost games and they've blamed refs and said, no, look at ourselves. That referee yesterday was absolutely shocking. I think it's Stuart Atwell. He was terrible. How many times does Rodri have to foul a player before he gets a yellow card? Absolutely awful. It got to the point he was rugby tackling people. He actually grabbed one of our players around the shoulder and just pulled him to the floor. And he didn't even get booked. Alvarez was the only player who got booked for them yesterday. But it is what it is. We won the game. I'm not going to do the tie thing, the referee, but he was shocking. Said one thing and I say this a lot. Premier League, richest league in the world. I think it's probably the most entertaining. The standard of refereeing in the Premier League is dreadful. And I'm not just talking about that ref yesterday in general. But let's not focus on the refs. I'm very happy today. The celebration police are out. Oh, you shouldn't celebrate. But I'm happy today. I enjoyed yesterday. Seeing the players walk up them steps, you know, the pictures with the medal. That's what football's all about. And we have to use that as a platform to build. Psychologically, a lot of these players in the Arsenal team have not beaten City. A lot of these players weren't there when we beat them in 2020. So that was a big point for me yesterday. Beating them on penalties, okay, it is what it is. But we competed. We were with them in that game. We could have beat them in normal time if we'd have put our chances away. Big up my bro Akeem. He said, I'm happy with Arsenal. Arteta still need a winger and a striker, and I think we're cooking. I agree. Where's the merch? I did go to the Armoury today. I was in a bit of a rush, and I didn't buy anything. But, you know, we may do an online order. There wasn't actually that much in there. Maybe it's already been cleaned out. Clock Orange, we were good, Curtis. I like that we beat City. Now we need to translate this in the league and other competitions. 100%. Like I said, put it in perspective. They lost the Community Shield last year and they won the treble. So to Man City, it's not the end of the world. I felt we needed to win more than them. What it is about is what we do from this point with that Community Shield win. Build on it and take that into the season and go and win more trophies. We have to win trophies now. South London's finest. Felt great to have the watch-alongs back. I really enjoyed it. I have enjoyed going to the pre-season games, of course. You want to be there sometimes and see it. But I loved the watch-along yesterday. I was up for that game. That was not no friendly to me. I don't care what anyone says. I really wanted Arsenal to win that game. Now, I'm not going to do an overall player rating in terms of each individual player, but we're just going to skip through like each section of the team. I'm going to start with one player, right? And I'm starting with him because for me, he was the best player on the pitch yesterday. And that is Jurrien Timber. I mean, I don't like to get carried away with players either way. If they're struggling when they've just signed, I don't want to annihilate them. If they're brilliant, I don't want to overdo them. But Jurrien Timber, at the moment, looks absolutely fantastic. I cannot describe how good this guy looks. I want people to understand this guy played nearly every game last season at centre-back for Ajax. He's not a right-back, he's not a left-back. He can play there, but that is not his position. He, yesterday, was the best player on the pitch. And that's not taking anything away from anyone else. He was doubled up on consistently by Bernardo and Kyle Walker. He got minimal help from Martinelli, who I didn't think had a great game. And he was the best player on the pitch. He didn't get troubled. He multiple big blocks. He gets forward. He can get on the ball. He's quick. He's aggressive. He's strong. People just said there, the eye tests don't lie. People can bring up stats and this, that, the other, blah, blah, blah. At the end of the day, when you watch a game, you know when you can see a player. I know this guy is a baller. He is class. He's so good. I'm looking at him yesterday going, well, Zinchenko can't get back in the team when he's fit. At the moment, he looks like the best left-back at the club. How crazy is it? Kieran Tierney came on yesterday, a natural left-back, and we look worse than when Timber was there. And that's not me throwing shots at Tierney. That's a reflection of how good Timber was. Best player on the pitch, I'd give him 9 out of 10. 22 years of age. Wow. £37 million. Play him right back, play him left back, play him centre back. Wouldn't surprise me if he could play defensive midfield. He's that good. Absolutely brilliant. I've criticised Edu and Arteta at times with transfers. It looks like we found a diamond with this one. He was outstanding. I'm just briefly going to skip through. I thought the whole back four was brilliant yesterday. Let me just say, Ben White, want to give him some credit yesterday. Pocketed Jack Grealish. A lot of people, including me, were thinking, you know what? Timber's going to take you out at right back. I thought Ben White was superb yesterday. He set up a big chance in the first half. He got Jack Grealish dragged and sent, to the catwalk. Thought Ben White was superb as well. He would have been up there for man of the match as well if it wasn't for Timber, who was just outstanding. I just want to say Timber was given man of the match by Arsenal on the Arsenal website. Thought Gabriel did well. Got a bit of a sloppy yellow card. He was very physical towards Haaland. And the boy Saliba. I mean, we all like the shiny new toy, as I always say. Let's get one thing clear. One of the best bits of business that Arsenal did this summer was getting Saliba to sign a new contract. I believe Saliba could play for anybody in the world. He's that good. He's that good. He is an absolute Rolls Royce. For me, the best centre-back I've seen at Arsenal since Sol Campbell and Toure in the Invincibles. And I don't hand out praise like that easily. I think he's better than Koscielny. I think he's better than Vermaelen. And anyone else in between. He's outstanding. He's a Rolls Royce. He's going to be... He could potentially, in the next few years, be the best centre-back on the planet. I'm going that far. And I don't get carried away with that kind of praise. Saliba is outstanding. He reads the game. He makes it look so easy. What a player. The whole back four, really, I would probably give Timber a 9, Saliba a 9, Ben White a 9. I'd probably give Gabriel an 8 just because of the yellow card. I thought he did well as well. I'm going to end up just doing player ratings anyway, aren't I? Let's do it. I'm going to give someone else a lot of credit. Aaron Ramsdale. We're going to talk about the potential new goalkeeper on his way in. Now, I read some of his interview that he's done last week, where they were saying that his girlfriend, I think it may now be his wife lost their child around the time that we played against Southampton. Now, obviously, he made that big mistake against Southampton where he gave the ball away in the first few minutes. But he was saying how his mind was just not in the game. And sometimes we don't see that side of things. We're football fans. A player makes a mistake. You're rubbish. Drop him. He's not good. We don't always know what's going on. Respect. I thought he was fantastic yesterday. We lose the game if it isn't for him. He makes a fantastic save from Foden. And then from the resulting corner, he makes a save at the near post. It's game over if any of them go in. Oh, it might have been the Spurs game late, and apologies. But hey, regardless, he was going through a lot. And yeah, that game's over if we go 2-0 down. It's as simple as that. So he kept us in it. And then he saves another penalty. He hasn't saved a penalty. Then he saves one against Monaco, and he saves one. I thought he was fantastic. Again, he gave the ball away once, but I'd still give him 9 out of 10. I thought he was excellent. One bad pass, I'll let him off. Thomas Partey was a bit of a mixed bag. I thought he started off very slow. He got a stupid yellow card for kicking the ball away, but I felt he grew into the game then. And a lot of people were sort of questioning Arsenal's midfield yesterday, but I think you got to look at it. Man City did nothing to us through the middle of the pitch. You look at Kovacic, you look at Rodri, you look at De Bruyne, played a couple good passes, but they didn't do anything to us, really. So I'd still give Partey a 7. I thought he grew into the game. Declan Rice, I've seen a lot of comments about Declan Rice as well. I thought Rice was solid yesterday. Partey, yeah, he did get spun by Foden at the end. I think he tried to high press as we were going for the win and got caught out. That is the one moment, but you wouldn't begrudge him trying to win the ball up there. If he's not on a yellow card, he probably takes him out. But I thought Partey grew into the game. His passing got better as the game went on. I'll probably give him 7.5. I think he was slightly better than Rice. So I'll give him a 7.5. Rice, I think we have to understand, is going to take time to adjust. For West Ham, he sat on the edge of the box, won tackles and passed it. Gave the ball to Paqueta and Bowen. We're asking him to get forward, go and score goals. He made one great defensive run where he got back. I think it was Bernardo Silva, and he clattered him and won the ball. And I thought, that's what you're there for. There's going to be a lot of times this season where you're going to watch Declan Rice and you're going to go, 105 million. Even me. But we have to understand what his job role is in this team. He will grow into becoming that number 8. I've got no doubt when we're playing lesser teams and we're dominating and we're creating chance after chance, you will start seeing Declan Rice scoring goals, getting in the penalty area. We're playing against the best team on the planet. So he had to be more defensive. I give Declan Rice 7. Solid without being spectacular. I think South London's Finest just said it there. I'm very happy that Thomas Partey looks like he's staying because we need him. We need him. Martin Odegaard. Now, I thought he started the game off slow, but the pass to Saka, brilliant. The turn that he did on Kovacic, oh, no. I'm sorry. I'm quite easily pleased when it comes to football. You start dropping silky things like that, I'm a little bit, I'm kind of easy to convince. Like, I'm done. Odegaard gets an 8 out of 10. I know he wasn't on the ball that much, but he sent Kovacic back to the Chelsea training ground. He spun him and then dropped him to the floor. I'm like that, and then he scored the penalty, and yeah, man, that's enough for me. Was it Alvarez or Kovacic? I thought it was Kovacic. Some people saying Alvarez. I thought it was Kovacic. But he was breaking ankles. It was wild. So Odegaard gets an 8 for me. When you're breaking up man's ankles like that, when you're playing mad through balls, splitting their defence open, and then you score the penalty, that's it. I'm easy. I'm easily pleased. So Odegaard gets an 8. He wears the number 8. I give him the number 8. That's wild. That's wild. People saying it was both of them. Whoever it was, they got rinsed anyway. Front three. I'm going to be totally honest. I thought the front three were our least effective players in the game yesterday. I'm going to keep it 100. I'll start with Martinelli. I thought out of the front three, he was probably the worst. That head down running, he was doing it too much. I think the problem you have when you play against Kyle Walker, you can't just try and knock it and run him because he's arguably the quickest fullback, or he's certainly probably the quickest right back At left back, you'd be looking maybe Alphonso Davies. But I thought Martinelli, I'd give Martinelli a 6. I think I'm being kind. I thought he was ineffective. Got one decent cross in. A few of them he overhit. I'd give him a 6 because we won. I didn't think he played that well and he got dragged. And I think really, whether it's left wing or the striker, Trossard's in the background going, boss, I don't know what you're saying, but right now I should be on that pitch somewhere. I love Martinelli. A lot of you know I'm always bigging up Martinelli. But yesterday he had that performance again where he didn't look like he was thinking. One thing I say about Martinelli, when you're up against a quality right back, you have to start thinking and being more clever. Simply getting the ball and running, that ain't going to work against everyone. It's not the end of the world. I want to see better than that. I need to see that maturity this season from Martinelli. But Walker is very difficult to play against. Bukayo Saka, I thought Saka was better than Martinelli. In reality, he should have had an assist. He pulls the ball back to Havertz. We know what happened afterwards. Scored his penalty. That's the first penalty he's taken at Wembley since missing his penalty in the Euros for England. So that was a big moment for him as well. Saka, I felt like had a harder time of it than Martinelli because you saw Grealish and Akanji doubled up constantly. After Saka done Akanji earlier in the game, the whole time you just saw Grealish, double up, double up, double up. I also felt Saka helped Ben White more than Martinelli did. If you notice, Timber was 2v1 a lot of the time. You didn't really see that with White and Saka. So I'll give Saka... He wasn't great either, but... See, if you had a quality right winger on the bench, you'd have probably taken him off in the second half, to be honest. I'd probably give him a 6.5. He's had illness. I don't think he was at his sharpest. I think he was slightly better than Martinelli, though. I'll give him a 6.5. He's had... I think he had some sort of gastric illness. 6.5, 7, depending on what mood you're in. We're in a good mood anyway, but he wasn't at his best. Let me talk Kai Havertz. I've seen a lot of arguing, a lot of debate on Twitter, on YouTube, face-to-face. How do you think Havertz played yesterday? Listen, let me get one thing clear about Kai Havertz. I have absolutely no agenda against Kai Havertz or any player that plays for Arsenal Football Club. I think if you was tuned into the watch-along yesterday, I was actually very defensive of Kai Havertz. When he signed, obviously, I gave my opinion on what he was as a signing, which I wasn't pleased about the signing because he hasn't played well for Chelsea and we paid 65 million. We gave him a huge contract. I thought in the first half, Kai Havertz was one of our best players, right? His hold-up play and his link-up play was excellent. That's a fact. You can't take that away from him. In the second half, I felt that he faded. He had a very quiet second half and he got taken off towards the end. When you play up front, it's fine margins. You can have a good game and score and all of a sudden you're one of the best players on the pitch. If you have a good game and don't score, people will point at that because if we hadn't equalised and won on penalties, we'd be sitting here today going, we lost that game because of Kai Havertz, because he missed those chances. First chance, I think the turn is good. He doesn't make proper contact with the shot and the keeper saves it. The second one, I'm going to keep it 100. I think he's got to score. Right, I know he's not a natural striker, but he has played up front for the last 2 or 3 years for Chelsea. Haaland is the benchmark, along with Kane, for every striker in the country. I think Haaland up the other end would have scored that chance. It's a very difficult rating. He will be sitting at home last night going, should have scored. Should have scored. That second one, he's got to put that in the back of the net. And it's fine margins. We're lucky that we've won the game today on penalties, because penalties, anything can happen. So the rating is difficult. I mean, I'd probably give him a 6 or 7, 6.5 maybe again. You've missed a big chance in a big game in the league. You're not going to have penalty shootout. That costs you the game. Now, people can say he's not a striker, but he's played up front for 2 years for Chelsea. I know we signed him to play in midfield. My problem with Havertz, is Havertz a striker? Is he a number 8? What is his best position? There were things in his game yesterday that were positive. The hold-up play, the ability to outmuscle Ruben Diaz and hold the ball up. As a striker, you will get judged on two things. How good are you with the back to goal? Can you hold up the ball and link up play? But probably the most important thing is what can you do when you're facing goal? Can you finish chances when they turn up? I think the positive thing is he gets in good positions for the chances. The negative thing is that he's not a clinical finisher. I'm giving him a 6.5. If we want to be kind, you could maybe give him a 7. But I think those chances are very, very important. And he should have taken the second one. I think there's something to work with. I don't want fans to write him off. And I don't want us to all jump on it and say he's rubbish. And no. I always say let's try and judge a player in our shirt. What he did at Chelsea was not good. But I'm trying to be patient. But let's make no mistake about it. If Eddie missed those chances, I'd be criticising him. If Jesus missed those chances, I would be criticising him. So he's not somebody that I should not criticise because he's new. I thought there were positives in his game yesterday. Hold up play, but you've got to score. That's Man City, and you won't get many chances against Man City. And the second one, I mean, Mafia Boss saying he didn't miss, keeper saved them, but he put it straight at him. Smash it in the corner. You know, champions of the Community Shield, you'll never sing that. Listen, we're going to have to be patient with Havertz. I keep saying it. That's all we can do. I'm not ripping him apart, but I expect that second one to be in the back of the net. But let's see. Time will tell. A few players came off the bench. The players who came off the bench, they did a lot of running around. Smith Rowe. Trossard, 8 out of 10. It's as simple as that. The rest get a standard 6. They weren't on for long. Trossard comes on, as a pot shot, scores. Simple as that. Do we shoot enough from outside the area? I would say we don't. Think about how many shots we had yesterday. How many was outside the area, 20, 25 yards out? Arsenal don't shoot enough. I'm putting that out there. Odegaard can shoot. Thomas Partey, his shooting got better last season. I reckon Rice can shoot. Martinelli can shoot. Saka can shoot. Havertz can shoot. We don't shoot enough. We do not shoot enough from distance. Trossard gets an 8, maybe even a 9. Come on and change it. And he scored his penalty, he gets a 9. Simple as that. Trossard, by the way, should start against Forest. Let me put that out there. He should start. Let me give Fabio credit as well for scoring a penalty. What a penalty. So that's that for player ratings. Fabio did all right. Yeah, we move him up because the penalty was superb. I'm calling him Fabio Vieira today. That penalty was... That was proper. For a guy that missed the penalty, put it over the bar in New York, to go top corner was risky. Broad said, got to be patient with Havertz, but he plays behind the striker. SS for all the PES players out there. I hear you. He does, but you've still been brought in to add to the goal tally. That was a big chance. Lexus said, Big C, I agree, he should have scored 1. However, the fact he's getting in the positions is encouraging. And we have to say, and this is what I want to say, in terms of Havertz, in terms of any other player, when we're looking at our benchmark of players and performances, because I'm disappointed that Havertz didn't score yesterday, but the reality is that's the best team in the world we played against yesterday. And we troubled them, we created clear-cut chances, we kept the ball, and we scored, and then we beat them. And we only conceded 1. There's so many positives to come out of that game. Now, Havertz against Forest, against whoever else we play, we're probably going to get more chances. We're going to keep more of the ball. I need to see more. He needs to be more clinical, but there's something to work with, right? So that's all we can do as Arsenal fans. I know we're very split on him, and I'm in that category. I've said quite openly I wouldn't have signed him. But he's here. We've got to try and get the best out of him. What I liked about him was the physical presence. I didn't actually know that that Havertz was that strong. You know, Ruben Diaz is a very physical centre-back, and he pinned him very well. Let's try and build up all our players' confidence. The movement was excellent. Start putting them chances away, who knows. Let me go through these super chats. C. Timber, I told you a few weeks ago Party was stay. Oh, no, he says, remember, I told you a few. Well, good news, Emmanuel, good news. Black said, first thing Timber asked was, when's training Arteta? Wow. There's the mentality, you see. He's got that Ajax mentality. A said the best way to get the season underway. Come on, Arsenal. Exactly. It gives us a great confidence boost ahead of Forest. Gonna roller. Partey managed being on a yellow superbly. He was on a yellow and couldn't make a professional foul on Foden. Mature players stay on the pitch. The positive, he didn't get a second yellow, which was excellent. The negative In a big game, don't get a stupid yellow card kicking the ball away. It's pathetic. I would actually be fuming at him as a manager. You're getting booked after 10 minutes for kicking the ball away. But well done for not getting the second yellow. The problem is, if he wasn't on a yellow, when Foden spins him, you can grab him, pull him to the floor, get a yellow card, and the goal doesn't happen. So again, fine margins against the top teams. Young Gunner said Martinelli had an average game, but could it be argued he's struggling a bit without the Xhaka-Jesus link-up? Last season he thrived with Xhaka in the 8. In tough away games, Rice will be more effective. You're spot on there, especially Jesus. Jesus link-up play with Martinelli is superb, and Xhaka makes them run. So yeah, it will take time to build that partnership. Shatanya said, big up Big C, we had a good team, I believe. Are you concerned more with Arteta's squad and in-game management? Need to sort that out quickly. As I said, I think if Raya comes in, goalkeeper position set, back four and strength in depth set. Midfield, I think ideally I would like one more, but still very strong. The front line for me is strong, but I would like one or two more. So I think the squad is a lot better, but I would still like to see a couple more come in. Simon said, I thought Trossard was left-footed, but he took his pen with his right. Well, there you go. That's the reflection of how technically gifted the boy is. He can shoot with both feet, and I think he's a top-quality player, and I'd start him on Saturday against Forest. But is what it is. I would imagine Havertz will probably start again. Trossard saved the game. He should get a 10. You're right, I suppose. Make sure you smash the likes. 2,600 of you locked in. Really appreciate it. Arsenal fans were loud and proud. The City fans were quiet. I mean, listen, without being disrespectful, and McLovin's in here, and I know he's a big Man City fan. City fans have probably been a bit spoilt the last few years, so they probably look down their nose a little bit, you know, at the Community Shield. It was interesting they didn't sell out their side of the ground yesterday. I don't know what that reason is. It was down as a sellout, but there were a lot of empty seats. Broad said, do you think Trossard is better as an impact sub? I did say this before the game yesterday. Sometimes when you keep coming off the bench and doing well, in your mind you think, okay, I should be starting now. I'm proving myself. But sometimes the manager thinks, well, who's a better player off the bench, Havertz or Trossard? Trossard is a player because he's very lively. He can come off the bench and do something. Where Havertz isn't as vibrant, I would say. I think Havertz is a player that's better starting the game. So, but I do think Trossard deserves to start. But it's just whether do you play him up front or do you drop Martinelli? I think maybe up front I would play him against Forest. Tickets were £35 in the City end. That's crazy. Trossard reminds me of Cazorla. Duke's in the same way. Yeah, a little bit of Haleb, bit of Arshavin off that left as well. Kickoff time was later than original. City fans were going to boycott train issues. Okay, fair enough. Big up Dre in the chat. Drop Martinelli, says Gunn, and Trossard up front is experimental. I suppose Havertz is as well. You know, he played false nine for Brighton. So, but it is what it is. It's nice to have options. It's nice to have options. Anyway, let's move on, people. Couple other bits to speak through. Let's get into transfers. Lots of transfer stories today. Players coming in, possibly. Players going out. And I want to know your thoughts and opinions on these stories. Now, the first one involves Matt Turner. I once famously called him Tina Turner. I don't know. Maybe that, you know, maybe it was doomed from day one. I do think he's a better keeper than initially I was saying. I stopped calling him Tina Turner. But Arsenal have agreed a deal with Nottingham Forest for Matt Turner. Initial 7.5 million with 2.5 million in add-ons, so it'll be 10 million. And he's having a medical at Nottingham Forest today. Now, I want to ask your opinion on this. And I said this on my stream yesterday. We play against Forest this Saturday, first Premier League game. We're selling a goalkeeper to Nottingham Forest who's probably going to start against us on Saturday. For me, I don't know what anybody else thinks. I would not be doing this deal before Saturday. I'm turning around to Forest. I'm saying that, yeah, you can sign him all day long. Number one, we've done it for a decent price. £10 million with an initial 7.5, 2.5 in add-ons is a bargain for a 28-year-old American number one goalkeeper. There's no way I'm selling him so that he can play on Saturday. He knows our team inside out. He knows our tactics. He knows where our players like to put their penalties. He should not be playing against us on Saturday. And now some people say, oh, don't worry, we'll beat Forest. He's not that good, blah, blah, blah. The game is the game. What do we do if he has an absolute stormer against us on Saturday and he saves a penalty? He's fantastic at saving penalties, by the way. I mean, Sakin saying Forest won't play him on Saturday. I don't know. Will they play him? He played for America over the summer, so his fitness ain't going to be great. I know we need to... I know Kingsley's saying we can't have it all, and I get it. And maybe one of the circumstances from Forest was, we'll sign him, but we need him for Saturday, you know. And maybe Arsenal have said, listen, we can't risk the deal collapsing for the sake of him playing against us. Maybe I'm being a little bit overly harsh here, people. But like I said, I always remember Lucas Fabianski playing for Swansea against Arsenal when Swansea were struggling. And he made about 10 saves that night, and we ended up losing the game. And I remember thinking, wow, you know, ex-Arsenal keeper who wasn't that good as a worldie against us. Listen, good luck to Matt Turner. As you know, I'm a Nottingham boy. I always like Nottingham Forest to do well. Obviously, I hope we batter them on Saturday. I think we will beat them. I just really hope he doesn't have a good game against us on Saturday. But, yeah, good luck to him. And again, I respect him. The same thing I said about Austin Trusty. I respect players who want to play football. He's 28. There's a World Cup in a couple of years. He doesn't want to risk losing his spot in the American national team. And rather than just walking around saying, yeah, I play for Arsenal, he said, you know what? I'm off. I'm not going to get first team football here. I'm going. Forest are a big club. And they're in the Premier League. He'll get good wages. Fair play to him. So good luck to Matt Turner after Saturday, of course. Let's hope we score a few goals against it. That's if he even plays on Saturday, but I would imagine he would. I think their other goalkeeper is Wayne Hennessy, who's about 39 years of age. So I think Turner will play. Big up Wasim said, this is Arsenal. We'll get on the team bus to the game and play for them. South London's finest. He will know our strengths, but the players will know his weaknesses. That's a good point as well. I like Turner, just won't push Rambo. I agree. Listen, I agree with selling him. He obviously wants first team football. He's got an opportunity to go and start for Forest. I've got no problem with the move. Good luck to Matty Turner. Let's just make sure we score a few against him on Saturday. Raven said Turner was a great backup. He's definitely good enough to be a starter. And fair play for him for having the confidence. James said why we took all these US players in the first place is beyond me. I think what's interesting is if I'm Kroenke, I'm looking at it going, Trusty, Turner, Balogun, particularly with Balogun, of course, but from a business point of view, I suppose it would have been good for the Kroenke to have an American international at Arsenal. Trusty's gone, Turner's gone, and Balogun obviously doesn't look like he's going to stay at the club. So let's see. Henok said actually he would like to see Martinelli and Trossard in the team. Could you fit them both in? Possibly. Rish said no team looks convincing to win the Premier League. Personally, I feel it will be either United or Arsenal. I mean, listen, there's no way in a million years you can dismiss Man City. They've just won the treble. It will be City or somebody else, in my opinion. Broad said Musa has just gone to Milan. Great move for him. I know City weren't at their scintillating best yesterday, but City are, listen, they're still the team to beat. Make no mistake about it. I was listening to a Pep Guardiola interview yesterday where he said Man City have played less games than any other English club in pre-season. He wanted to give them an easy pre-season because they played so much football last year. He was saying a lot of his team aren't fully fit yet. Arsenal have played 5 pre-season friendlies. Man City have only played 3. So it will be City or one other. I do not think Man United will win the league. I don't think their transfer business will win them the title. Big up Jason. Big up Goat Nelly. He said, I just looked up on my birthday. We play City. Jeez, that could make or break the birthday. Chris said, don't be surprised if City don't sign 2 players. Yeah, I think they'll definitely sign a winger. Broad said you could see that actually. Pep is right. Look at Haaland yesterday, how flat he was in that game. You know, he didn't even look sharp. He had 13 touches in the game. He hardly touched the ball. And then he just took him off. De Bruyne's on the bench. I wouldn't take too much about Man City in that Community Shield. They lost the Community Shield last year and won the treble. So you can't dismiss them. Anyway, let's move on, people. Matt Turner's on his way, which means Obviously, a new keeper will be on their way to Arsenal, and we all know that is man like I've been trying to call him David Raya, but I just end up calling him David Raya, Big Dave Raya, David Raya. Arsenal are very close to securing David Raya. Transfer, according to sources close to negotiations, still work to be done to finalise the deal, but the Gunners' keeper business is accelerating quickly ahead of the opening day. This is from CBS Sports. Fabrizio has actually done a little bit on his video as well, and they're saying that he should be an Arsenal player by the game on Saturday, which is very interesting. As I said before, I like the deal. I think some people were looking at it saying it's a little bit harsh on Ramsdale. Salman said Raya, not Raya. I hear you. But you know what I'm talking about. Big Dave from Brentford. I like this. It was interesting that there was a picture yesterday of somebody at the game who basically people were saying that it was him at the game, trying to like sort of hide his face. I'm just looking for the picture actually, but I'll try and show you the picture. But listen, whether he was or not, this deal looks like it's going to get done. Arsenal offered £23 million at the end of last week. Brentford now asking for 28 million. This deal is going to get done. They've already signed a replacement goalkeeper for him, so they knew this deal was going to happen anyway. And it should get done this week. One thing I will say yesterday, I thought Aaron Ramsdale put out a reminder to everybody. He's not just going to walk away. He's not just going to disappear. I thought Ramsdale was superb yesterday. As I said, the save from Foden and the save at the near post header from the resulting corner, that tells you the level of quality that he's got as well. Like I said, Fabrizio says that the deal is close, could be done this week. Hopefully it is done this week. We want to see it done sooner rather than later. So yeah, listen, it is what it is. You get 10 million for Turner, you pay 28 million for Raya, then you've only actually really paid 18 million pounds for him. That's an absolute bargain. He was being linked with 40 million pound moves earlier in the window. Here we go. I found the picture. Let me just change it. I just want to see your opinion. Not that it really matters whether it was him or not. It's sort of irrelevant. Big up Southern Gooner, Morning Sea, love this deal. Ross, Big Dave we'll call him. Somebody took this picture and said, I'm a few seats away. I think this is David Raya. This here, now bear in mind it was sunny at Wembley yesterday. People saying this guy here with the hoodie and the icon hat, I mean, what do you reckon? Is that him? It looks like somebody, certainly, that is trying to keep a low profile. Nimbo said he's small, Dave. I mean, he is only 6 foot, which is quite small for a keeper. Joe said that's the weekend. Dear. I reckon it could be him. Come to watch. Got the hoodie on. Got the hat low. Who's saying that's Janelt next to him? Yeah, it could definitely be him. Same beard. It's him next to Janelt. It was him. TalkSports confirmed it. Listen, it is happening. SG said it's Drake. I refuse to speak about Drake after the car park incident in New York. Can you zoom? Hey, Wasim, behave yourself. Listen, it probably is him. People saying it's Kanye West. Listen, it probably is him. And it looks like the deal will get done this week anyway, which is positive. And as I said, is it a coincidence we get linked with a goalkeeper? Aaron Ramsdale has a really good game yesterday. Aaron Ramsdale saves his first penalty in midweek. So, listen, it will influence him either way. Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain having a medical with Besiktas. Wow, interesting. Former Arsenal player Oxlade-Chamberlain on his way to Turkey. What happened in New York? I mean, is he trolling me here? Basically, I bought a ticket thinking I was going to the Drake concert. Just as I was about to go, I realised I'd bought a car park ticket instead. But the less said about that, the better. Drake, you're a disgrace, and I hope your team gets relegated. Anyway, let's move on, people. Inverted Raya. Turner medical at Forest done. good luck to the Ox in Turkey, man. It's a shame. I always liked the Ox, at Arsenal, but hasn't quite had the career we expected. A couple other things to talk about, people, from yesterday, and obviously transfer news and bits and bobs. David Ornstein revealing that Monaco made a cheeky bid for Balogun after the game in midweek. He's dropped the exclusive bomb. Arsenal reject a written bid from Monaco for following Balogun. Follows a verbal offer turned down by Arsenal after the friendly. So they made 2 offers. Monaco pursuit ongoing. Sporting directors have a good relationship. Inter are keen but unclear if they can afford it. It's crazy, isn't it? Hey, don't be crashing no forklift truck, Don, man. Behave yourself. Crazy that Inter Milan, Champions League finalists last season, big Italian giants, they're struggling to find the money for Balogun. Yet Monaco, I know Monaco is a very wealthy part of the world, but, a much smaller club, small stadium. Look like, they're not naming how much the offer is, which is interesting. But Monaco are making an offer. Would he want to go back to the French league? He seems very much like he wants to go to Inter Milan. He obviously put up pictures of R9 Ronaldo playing for Inter the other day. But this is an interesting situation. I was reading that Balogun was apparently fit and available yesterday. Some of the other friendlies before, he was injured, but he was available and just purely left out of the squad. So clearly, they're trying desperately to sell him in this window. But whatever was offered by Monaco was rejected. So, and then the second part of this story with Balogun, which looks like it's the team that he wants to go to, of course, is Inter Milan. Gazzetta Italia reporting that Inter will offer 30 million euros with 5 million in add-ons and a large sell-on clause for Arsenal to arrive this week. However, Arsenal will sell to the highest bidder, and Lons are also interested in him. However, Balogun wants to go to Inter. 30 million euros, which is around 25 million pounds with 5 million in add-ons. You're talking about barely 30 million pounds for him. Now, initially, we were talking about 50 million. This offer could be just short of 30 million. I know Inter Milan are not rich like they used to be, but come on. You can't be offering less than 30 million pounds for him, man. That just can't work. You've got to be getting... realistically, with the situation we're in, a club would have to pay at least... I think realistically, I know ideally we all want 50 million quid. I think you've got to get at least 35 million pounds, which is over 40 million euros. I would want a significant sell-on clause, like 25% sell-on clause. And I would want probably even a buyback clause on him as well. Because the problem we've got now, we want 50 million. No one's paying 50 million for him. I think the problem is that he hasn't played enough for Arsenal. When you look at people like somebody just said there, I think Amo was talking about Iwobi, even though I didn't really rate Iwobi, he'd played a season and a half for Arsenal. Balogun has not hardly kicked a ball for Arsenal, so I think they've got to look to get at least 40 million euros for him, and then probably with a big sell-on clause and a buyback clause. What I would say to Arsenal is, can we get creative? If Inter Milan can't afford to pay significant money for Balogun, can we not look at Inter Milan and say, okay, who is in that Inter Milan team that we would potentially like to take? Could we even flip it and say, right, you know what, you take Balogun, we'll give you a little bit of money and we'll take Barella. Or we'll take Lautaro Martinez. Or I don't know. I'm just thinking outside the box here. What's the point selling him for stupid money like that? Why not go to Inter Milan and say, look, man, there's a couple players in your team that we'd be interested in. How about doing a swap deal? Broad says Brozovic has gone to Saudi. But Barella, I would love Barella at Arsenal. I think he's a brilliant player. I've never been the biggest fan of Lautaro Martinez, but we do need a striker, and I suppose beggars can't be choosers. But I'm just saying, you can't be selling him for £29 million. That's a shocking bit of business. I'd rather keep the young striker, says Temp. Henrik Mkhitaryan, no, I definitely don't want him back. Rish says, no team looks convinced. No, I did read that one, didn't I? Aluminium said, once again, Arsenal are getting peanuts for their players. If Trusty or Turner played for Chelsea, they'd be getting £20 million for each. Turner for 10 million is very cheap, really. Highly wanted criminal, big up you. You've been a member for 5 months. Forgive me, but we only made defensive signings. I mean, Havertz would be the attacking player, but yeah, I definitely think we need another attacking player. Spot on. Southern Guna said it's a shame about the brother Balogun. Big shame. Big shame. I really would have loved him to have gotten a chance. African Soldier said they sold Hoyland for 69 million. It's true. It's true. Listen. The reality is the market is dictated to by what somebody is willing to pay for that player. Number one, Hoyland is playing in Italy. He's playing in Europe for Atalanta. I know he's only scored 9 goals, but I think with, like I said, what's going against Balogun, people are going, okay, you did well in France, but you haven't hardly kicked a ball for Arsenal. So 50 million, and it's disappointing. It's disappointing, but it's the clubs that are in for him. Inter are struggling financially. They don't seem to have the money to pay 50 million. So what do? Well, he's only worth what people are willing to pay for him. That's the reality. If your car's worth 20 grand and you put it up for sale at 20 grand and the biggest offer you get is 12 grand, then the market is telling you your car is worth 12 grand. Then you've got 2 options. You either take 12 grand or you hang on to it and hope that eventually you get the 20. But it looks like we're going to get rid of Balogun, which I just think is a real shame. It's a real shame because, as I keep saying, if Balogun wasn't on loan from Arsenal and there was a 21-year-old striker, American international, who just scored 21 goals in France, he would be being consistently linked and talked about for moves to clubs. But because we've loaned him and he's come through our system and we're not really sure how good he is at Arsenal, we're just kind of like, just sell him then. Just sell him. There's something in my mind that is like, why would you not just sell Eddie and keep Balogun? Now, I know the problem is that Balogun, if he stays for half a season and doesn't do well, he's going to be worth even less. And I get that. But at the same time, if you could pick up 20 million for Eddie, and clubs are offering you 29 million for Balogun, why not just sell Eddie for 15, 20 million and give Balogun a chance? I don't know. Now, a lot of people saying it's Balogun's attitude, blah, blah, blah. I think he is starting to say a little bit too much publicly, but I think all he wants is the manager to say, you're going to get game time. I trust you. I believe in you. He doesn't. The manager clearly is saying, I've got Jesus, I've got Eddie, I've got Havertz, and then you'll be there. So he's not going to play a lot of football, and that's the reason. If you told him, look, Havertz going to play in midfield, I'm going to sell Eddie and Nketiah, and your second choice to Gabriel Jesus, you may get a chance. I mean, people saying he's a troublemaker. I don't know. Maybe he's been a little bit badly advised. Maybe he feels frustrated. You got to imagine 21. So a year ago, he gets loaned out to France. Go and prove yourself. And if you do well, you come back and you get an opportunity. Goes to France, scores 21 goals, gets in the American team, comes back and he's like, where's my chance? Oh no, Eddie, Havertz, Jesus. He's probably frustrated as well, but I do think he's expressed some of it in the wrong way. But I would have liked to have seen him in an Arsenal shirt because I just have this feeling, for every Iwobi that you sell or, where you say, okay, I'm quite happy that we got that money for him, every now and then there's a Serge Gnabry where you say, we let a real talent go. I just hope Balogun is not in that Serge Gnabry category. But time will tell. I'm almost certain Balogun will not be an Arsenal player once that window closes. He doesn't want to be second choice anyway, so it's got to go. Saliba talked about how Arteta didn't talk during pre-season last year, how it was a test. I feel like Balogun failed his test. It's difficult. Not every young player knows how to deal with that. You want communication. The last time he signed a deal, he talked about more game time. He's bound to feel frustrated. It is what it is. I suppose we have to just deal with the fact he won't be here. Whether we like Balogun or not, he's going to go. George says that Italian clubs ask for crazy amount of money when they sell. When it's the other way around, they offer peanuts. Listen, I think you have to understand with a lot of these clubs and a lot of these countries, the Premier League is the golden egg. It's the golden goose because clubs are rich in the Premier League. Burnley have just been promoted back to the Prem. They've spent £19 million on a goalkeeper from Manchester City, who most of us had never heard of. I think he's their fourth choice goalkeeper. That's like 25 million euros. Burnley have just spent 25 million euros effectively. Inter Milan, an absolute giant of football. R9, Adriano, Recoba, all the greats that have played for them. They're struggling to put £30 million on the table because they just don't have the money over there. And it is wrong because if you went to go and sign Barella, they'd probably ask for 80, 90 million pounds. But yet, you know, when they want to buy, it's, oh, we've got no money. Can we pay in add-ons? Will you take euros? Can we give you a buyback clause? It's the reality of the situation. They're not full of money over there in Italy. The TV deals are nowhere near as big as the Premier League. The sponsorship deals are nowhere near as big. The ticket prices are not as high. The money is not there. They're not winning the Champions Leagues. They're not winning. So the money is not there, I'm afraid. A goalkeeper who's behind Scott Carson, exactly. The famous Scott Carson. Big up Frames of Football, new member, really appreciate it. Big up Jared, long-time subscriber. Balogun should get a chance. Ideal world, I'd love to have seen it. Where I think Arsenal messed up a little bit, I think we should have used him during pre-season, really got a good look at him and then made the decision now. He only played 20 minutes of football in pre-season, but apparently there was an injury, so it is what it is. What can we do? Balogun, he looks as if he's on his bike. One good bit of news regarding striker is Gabriel Jesus. Mikel Arteta said yesterday after the game in an interview that Gabriel Jesus is fine. The operation went well. And the hope is that he could be available for the Crystal Palace game, which is on the 21st of August, which is our second game of the season. So obviously he's already been out for a week by the middle of this week because he had the operation last Wednesday, was it, when we played Monaco, Wednesday or Thursday. So by the middle of this week, it will already be a week. By the middle of next week, it will be 2 weeks. Some people are now saying it will only keep him out for 2 weeks. So that would be a fantastic boost. I think we can get away with playing Forest without him available. But if we can get him back for that Crystal Palace game, which, you know, Palace is always a very difficult game. We did beat them last year, but you know it's going to be difficult. You know how they'll try and hit us on the break. And I think I do think that'll be a difficult game. So listen, it'll be great news if Gabriel Jesus is back for that game. He did put up an Instagram post earlier of him doing some exercise on his knee. So hopefully, you know, he's trying to let everyone know that that knee is a little bit better than first thought. So if he's back for Palace, would be great news. I think you can see we're not quite the same team when he's not playing. You know, one thing he offers us a lot of mobility up front. Gabriel Jesus, movement and link-up play. You know, he never stops running. So, yeah, listen, it will be great to get him back. That is for sure, people. Yeah, I believe it when I see it. I'm with you on that. But listen, let's see. Although OGD said, don't be fooled. Jesus will be back mid-September. We're talking surgery. It does sound crazy to think he can have an operation and be back on the pitch in 2 weeks, but I don't know. Apparently it was fluid on the knee, so you drain the fluid out. I don't know. Anybody who knows a little bit more about knee injuries, maybe you can let me know on that one. I swear if Eddie starts this weekend. I've got to be honest, Nimbo, whoever starts up front out of Trossard, Havertz or Eddie, I would expect us to still beat Forest at home. I think with Martinelli, Saka, Trossard, you know, there's enough quality there for us to still be fine and win that game. But listen, let's hope Jesus is back sooner rather than later. Truth, Ton said I had fluid on the knee once, couldn't exercise for 6 weeks. So, yeah, it's crazy. Jorge said I want Ivan Toney. Hendon Guna said Gabriel Jesus could be back in a couple of weeks if he underwent. Yeah, I won't butcher that. Keyhole surgery just to clean out the knee. I was back on my feet after 2 weeks. Back on your feet, but do you think he could play in an intense game? Arsenal opening game at home is always good for us, 100%. James said, see, what's your opinion on Trossard up front? I think he needs to be more incorporated. What I would say with Trossard, he's playing that good at the moment. It's very difficult to leave him out of the team. But where do you play him? Where do you play him? I would start him up front, false 9 against Forest, personally. I think you let Martinelli find his rhythm, and obviously Saka. I think while Jesus is out, play him up front. That's what I would do. Young Gunner said, ideally, who would you sign to compete with Saka? I'd go all out for Elise. We need a striker. Could we see Big C up front on loan with an option to buy? If only, bro. Right wing, Elise would be good. Kudus would be good. Listen, earlier on in the window, there was talk of Gnabry moving. That looks like that's gone quiet. Sané as well. Listen, there's not loads of options. I think that somebody like Elise would be good. A younger player that would still get game time, that would probably be a little bit more patient. The problem you've got is a top quality right winger going to come to Arsenal when they know how important Saka is to Arsenal. You are going to be second fiddle. But we'll see. We'll see. Yeah, listen. I heard they're paying 4 or 5 grand a week in the 3rd division in Saudi, people. Don't be surprised. George said, Big C, any updates on Kudus? Has the deal gone through? Well, you've segued me nicely there into my next point. And we are talking about right wingers. And I thought this was very interesting this morning that has come out that Mohamed Kudus' deal to join Brighton is hanging by a thread. The player has not been able to agree personal terms with Brighton. Reports here coming out of Holland, Mohamed Kudus to Brighton is now in doubt, as Brighton still haven't reached an agreement on personal terms. Ajax want clarity. Now, Ajax are saying if this deal is not tied up ASAP, they will pull out of the deal. Right? They're not prepared to have one of their best players in limbo. He either comes back to Ajax and plays, or they sign him. Now, is this delaying tactics? I mean, fans saying it here, he's waiting for us. Is he trying to slow things down and say, listen, man, I want a little bit more. Okay, let me think about it. Arsenal, what are you saying, man? I don't know. Maybe I'm reading too much into it. But listen, the deal is there to go and get. If you can't tell me if Arsenal go in and match the offer, he's not rejecting Brighton. Of course he is. He's not stupid. He would come to us, but I don't know. Are we waiting to sell players? Do we really want him? I don't know. That's a good point, Red Smoke. Obviously, he's got the link up with Timber from Ajax. He knows Partey from the Ghana setup. It seems a no-brainer. Go and hijack the deal. Go and get him to Arsenal, man. He don't really want to go to Brighton. They don't even have sand on the beach. Why would you want to go to Brighton? It's a pebble beach. 40 million euros, 35 million quid. Get the deal done, man. 17 goals last season. 4 goals in 6 Champions League games. Hopefully he pulls out of the deal to Brighton. Listen, let's be real. Ajax to Brighton is... I don't even think that's a step up. Okay, you get in the Premier League and they are in the Europa League, which I get, but that's a bit of a sideways move, man. He wants to play for the Arsenal, man. We know what he's doing. Edu, make the call, bro. 40 million euros. Give him a decent wage. Bring him to the carpet, man. I want him at Arsenal. He'd be a good player. He don't want to walk on a pebble beach, bro. Not that there's a beach in London, but I'm sure there's some fake sand somewhere they can put down. So, Kudus to Brighton is on the verge of collapse. Let's get in there and get him to the Arsenal, man. He would be quality for us. Ajax would be good for Balogun. Yeah, that's a good point. They make crazy money, by the way, Ajax, and never seem to spend it. They got 90 million for Anthony. They got 37 for Timber. They got 60 million for Martinez. They never seem to spend big money. Bournemouth Beach is the best. It's definitely one of the best in England. Bring him to the barbecue. Turn on the grill. This lad can be even better than Saka. Wow, that's huge praise. True say, João Felix is available currently between Saudi and Barca. It's crazy, isn't it? If he ends up in Saudi, I think that says a lot about João Felix and the way his career's gone downhill. Although I'm sure he'll get over it when he's earning 600 grand a week. Anyway, let's move on, people. Let's move on. This is an interesting one. This story came out yesterday. Fenerbahce are monitoring Arsenal midfielder Jorginho who is believed to be unsettled at the club. Now, this is a very interesting story because, as I said on yesterday's stream, he was being linked with a move to Lazio, which I thought might turn his head. He apparently was interested in going back to Italy, but he was like, no, I'm happy at Arsenal. I like it here. Then yesterday, this comes out that that he's got a slight injury and he's not in the team, and now Fenerbahce are linked with him. I'm not sure on this. I agree with what a lot of you are saying in the comments. I don't think it's real news. Everything that we've heard from him and his agent is that he's very happy at Arsenal. He has a year left on his contract. I think he'll probably see out that contract and then move on. Possibly go back to Italy, or maybe one of the Saudis clubs will come in with big money. I just don't see him going to Fenerbahce. Apparently a lot of people said over there in America when we spoke to people involved at Arsenal that Jorginho is pretty much the leader of the dressing room now. As I said, he's won the Euros, he's won the Champions League, he's won the Europa League. I think a lot of players look up to him. And I don't personally think that this will happen. Listen, I wouldn't lose sleep if he went. He doesn't really start for us, but I think that I don't see this happening. I think he'll be at Arsenal next season and potentially move to Italy next summer. So, yeah, I don't think he'll be on his way. Simon said Jorginho's missus is from North London. Can't see her in Turkey. Eros said the going rate for Jorginho is 100 million. Chelsea tax. Palmer says sell him. I'm still unsettled that we signed him, said Bigger Fish to Fry. I hear that. George said, I genuinely think he'll have a very decent season. I think Jorginho will be good in the Champions League because I think it's a lot slower. It's a lot more possession-based. And I think he'll be a useful squad player for this season. I think he'll get a lot of game time, to be honest. So I don't see this one happening, to be honest, people. Let me get into some of your comments before we begin to round up. In fact, finally, how can I forget? Just a quick afternoon, early evening waffle, people. Press conference settings is back. It was a short and sharp one, so it's Coneman music settings is back. The manager is smiling, fist pump, smile, and he's very happy. Do you know what? I said this yesterday. I want us to have a rivalry with Man City. A lot of the reason last year that we didn't... City never really looked troubled by us at the end of last season. And I think the problem is the whole rivalry was too nice. Pep and Arteta are hugging. Zinchenko's hugging players at half-time. Gabriel Jesus is hugging players. It's all very nice. The best rivalries are when Cesc Fabregas is throwing a pizza at Alex Ferguson. When Martin Keown is doing a forearm smash on the back of Van Nistelrooy's neck. When Keenan Vieira are trying to have a scrap on the pitch. That's the kind of rivalry I want to see. I know Pep and Arteta go way back. I know they're good friends. Cool, I get it. I respect it. But I want to see some fire in the bellies. I don't want to see players hugging. Hug in the dressing room. Send him a WhatsApp message. But while you're on the pitch, kick him. Kick him. Not interested. Let's turn it into a real rivalry. The reason that Liverpool and City started having a good battle on the pitch, because Liverpool started going for them. They were attacking them. I want us to go for City now. No more friendship business. Talk to them about 115 charges. Make it a bit sour if you have to. So let's just quickly go through the press conference reaction. It was very short, actually, which is good. On the importance of the win, he said, it feels great. I don't think it gets much better than winning a trophy in Wembley, which is what I keep saying, people. I had this argument a lot of times with Robbie at the end of last season, right? When he was saying about Man United winning the Carabao Cup. And listen, I don't think the Carabao Cup is a major trophy, but you can never turn your nose up at winning silverware at Wembley. Some of your best days as a player, as a fan, you will always remember Arsenal winning a cup final. It doesn't matter. We all remember beating Chelsea during COVID, Aubameyang dinking the keeper. We all remember Aaron Ramsey's header. We all remember Santi Cazorla's free kick. You're not going to forget those times. You don't forget them. We should never be in a situation as a football club where we start turning down trophies. I would be absolutely celebrating shamelessly if we won the Carabao Cup in March and we beat a big club at Wembley. That is the platform. How many times have Man City won the Carabao Cup and then it's the springboard for the rest of the season? We were in no position to turn it down. I enjoyed yesterday. It was a Community Shield, and I enjoyed it. It brought a good feeling, a good feel-good factor. Cazorla free kick, the Hull City one I was on about. Somebody said, what game was that? You know, people, you know. It feels great. I don't think it gets much better than winning a trophy in Wembley against the best team in the world, and to do it the way we've done it, it's encouraging. I think we had great moments, especially in the first half with 3 massive chances. Unfortunately, when you don't put them away, you know what can happen. Am I going crazy here? 3 chances in the first half. What were the big 3 chances? The 2 to Havertz. I can't really think of another one. What was the other one? Maybe the shot from Saka where he cuts inside. I can't really think of 3 big chances. That's the only one I can really think of. If you can think of another chance, let me know in the comments. We had a little error in midfield, didn't clear the ball. The next second, the ball is in the back of the net, and the game is very difficult. I think we made the right choices. The changes helped the formation. We kept some belief. Yeah, Martinelli, people are saying. 2 Havertz and the sack. Oh, you're right. Martinelli from the rebound. That was a big chance. I've forgotten that one. He probably should have scored that, Bend it in the far top corner. It is what it is. The Champions League final is at Wembley this year. Listen, and I said this earlier. I did a supporters club earlier. I think it's coming out tonight or tomorrow morning. Me, Turkish, Chris Hudson. The Champions League is wide open this year. And I know it sounds unrealistic. Most people say Arsenal can't win the Champions League. I get it. We haven't won it before, so why do we think we can win it? Apart from Man City, who are still the best team, Madrid don't look the same unless they get Mbappe. They get Mbappe, forget everything I'm saying in this conversation. If they turn up with Mbappe, Vinicius, Rodrigo, delete everything I'm saying here. But at the moment, Bayern don't look quite as good. PSG have just lost Messi. Madrid don't look as good. Barca are not the Barca of old. It's wide open. It only takes, stranger things have happened. Oh, Elliot, apologies. As soon as this is done, I'll make it a priority. I'm going to get you unblocked. One of the mods has blocked him, hopefully by mistake. And super chats are there. I am going to come back to them. I'm just going to skip through the waffle. On Ramsdale saying that we have proved we can beat Man City when it matters. He said, I don't have to agree or disagree. At the end, it's what the players feel. They're convinced they can beat any team. That's the challenge, especially with the maturity and how often they play the final ball. Neymar wants to leave. Wow, is that official? Listen, I'm a different character. I would take a Neymar at Arsenal, but Arteta ain't gonna manage Neymar, is he? Neymar's the type of player, he manages you as a manager. They're not gonna like that, but yeah, as I said yesterday, I love skill. So yeah, Neymar nutmegging people at the carpet, I would take it, but it ain't gonna happen, is it? On how important it is to have something tangible to hold on to, he said it's great. That's why we are here, to win trophies. For the football club, make it successful. Just the joy of seeing so many happy and proud people and the connection. He's right, man. Neymar has a new titanium ankle. Neymar definitely does manage you, man. I'm telling you. Let me skip through. Don't want to keep you for too long. On Havertz doing everything but score a goal. He said, yeah, I think so. He was superb. The way he pressed, how intelligent he is to try and understand certain spaces and the timing of it. He was great and got in great positions to score. He was unlucky not to score, but he was very physical when he needed to be, so I was very pleased with him. I mean, listen, he's going to do that. I understand that. You've got to justify him to the owners, to the fans. He's going to back him. As I said, with Havertz, patience. We're all in the same bracket. Is there a talent there? Yes. Are we happy with the signing? Not really, because he hasn't played well for Chelsea for a few years, and we're not really sure what his best position is. But cling on to every bit of positive that you can see in his performance and see if you can make it work. That's all we've got right now with Havertz. On Ramsdale's performance, said he was great. We practiced penalties a lot on purpose in pre-season to be ready. We went through disappointment against Man United where we didn't stop any. That was the learning curve that sometimes it's needed to get the right result, and he was superb. On the expectations of this season, interesting question. He said, I don't know if this result will raise expectations too high. Ooh, I mean, I don't know how he said that, but I don't like him saying that. I think we should have high expectations. We've just finished second, could have won the league, and we've spent 210 million. If we buy Raya, that's 230. If we buy anyone else, you're talking $250 million in one window. I just wanted to grab that trophy as quickly as possible, and then we can think about the next. But we know it's football. You win a trophy today. Tomorrow you have to be training. You have to prepare for Forest. It will be a different game, a difficult one, and we know we go day by day. This is great. It lifts the spirits. We just want to play better and win games. I'm not going to jump too much on that comment, but I would like to be a little bit more... I want you to say we want to try and win the league and stuff like that. But hey, he's probably trying to reduce the pressure. I understand it, but I would have liked to have heard him say, we want to win the league. On the new touch writing rules this season, I just said, listen, I cannot change my behaviour in 3 days. It's a difficult thing. We try our best. I mean, he got a yellow card, obviously, for shouting at the manager. At the ref, sorry. On new regulations about increased added time, he said at the end it's about effective time. I think it's really good because it was going too far. Now teams are going to have to think twice. On Ramsdale, if he's been feeling the pressure due to transfer speculation, he said, I hope not, because the competition here always exists, whoever it is, and that's what we have to feel like. If we don't feel like this, we're not going to get the best out of each player, so we better feel like this and make sure we all feel like this. Me first, and I agree with that. Just an interesting thing, Varane wrote a very interesting article today, complaining about the FA, because obviously now we're going to have a similar situation to the World Cup where the time added on is going to be very high because a lot of teams last season were time wasting too much. You saw yesterday there was 9 minutes added on. Varane is complaining, saying player welfare is not being taken into account. If you play an extra 10 minutes 50 times a season, how much more football are you playing? Referees are now booking players and booking managers for, having a bit of a go at them. They're taking the passion out of the game. It was quite an interesting read. If you haven't read it, give it a read. Anyway, big up DJ Wisp. Big up yourself, bro. I think he's taking the pressure off the team. I get it, but not what the fans want to hear. Hopefully you're in the member stream this week. We're going to try and do it Thursday or Friday. Nyamin Waffles, sipping syrup, winning against the world's greatest on this Coma music business. Let me read some of these super chats. Let me read all of them, in fact. Frames of Football, big up yourself, said, big up Curtis, long overdue membership. Keep up the great content. Can you give me a shout out? I do photo photography at Frames of Football. There you go. Check out Frames of Football. I will check out your page after the stream as well. And see if you've got anything on there worth having a look at. Big up yourself, bro. I appreciate that. You'd mash up the change room, bro. Like I said, I was a very passionate player. I won't talk about everything, but yeah, when I played full time, it was, it would go off if it needed to, which isn't always a good thing, but sometimes it's necessary. I would have a proper rivalry with that Man City team, I'm telling you. Canadian Gooner, look how good Timber is. He ain't even their best player. The guy has the ability to be better than Saka. In the World Cup, he was better than Partey. Canadian Gooner referring to Kudus. Alex says Brighton will sell Kudus in 2 years to Arsenal for 100 million. We should move for him very fast. It's true. They'll double up their money at 40 million euros easily. Alberto said, Big C, all the rival fans are trying to tell us that we won a glorified friendly trophy, but the prize money for the Shield is bigger than the Carabao. Listen, if we'd have lost, they'd have laughed. Now we've won, they want to say it's downplay. I'm not interested. It's silverware. Take it. Ask Tottenham if they'd take it. Ray Parler jumping on the RVN when he missed that penalty. The good old days, young folks wouldn't know these. Hey, do you know what I mean? Man was giving him a little dig in the ribs and everything. Real rivalries, people. Don't want to see all this, hugging. Save that for off camera in the change room. TMB, I will bite your hand off for Prime Cazorla back. He was a magnet. He's one of them players, like, when you're watching him, you're just like, he looked like a genius on the pitch at times. Neymar is like 10 times the level of Aubameyang, swag, but justifiable talent. Arteta's having multiple heart attacks if he rocks up at the Emirates. Listen, we know he gets that injury every year when it's carnival time, when he's at carnival with his sister. So there's no way Arteta would want to manage Neymar. Although Edu might want him there. Simon said they are going to add 45 seconds for a goal and 30 seconds for a sub. Time-wasting clubs are done. And I'm glad, because usually clubs get away with it too often. So, all right, you want a time waste? We'll add 15 minutes on at the end of the game. It's one of them. It is one of them. So, yeah, I'm happy with it. Let me go through a few of your comments. Salty settings. You're right, bro. Absolutely right. Let's see. English Super Cup. Yeah, I think they should change the name. Definitely think, just to make it seem, like I said, Pep was saying in Spain, that's viewed as a big game, the Super Cup. I think calling it Community Shield, I think they should change it, call it the English Super Cup, and try and make it a bigger thing. Top Spur, what's that? You ever heard of them? No? Fraser, of course there can be intensity. I love my close friends, but when we compete, you'd swear we were enemies because we want to defeat each other. And that's how football should be, man. That's how it should be. I think for us to cause more problems to Man City, we need to irritate them a little bit more. Don't make it so nice. Curtis, does this game give us more confidence going into the season? I think it does. I think that... Listen, we didn't beat them in normal time, but my biggest positive to take out of that game was the fact that I felt like we were on a similar level to them during the game. And that was my biggest, positive to take out of it. Haaland did nothing. Alvarez did nothing. Grealish did nothing. Kovacic was tidy, but no real goal threat. Rodri, we kept them quiet, really. Foden was quality when he came on, he spun Partey. Somebody asked there, apologies, I've missed it, about Kieran Tierney. I said this yesterday and I'll say it again. I think Kieran Tierney is a good left back. I do. I think the way we play football now, the Tierney and Arsenal thing may be pulling apart. It may be time to let Kieran Tierney go. Now, I'm all for having a big squad. So if we keep him, he's a good player, no worries. But when you see Timber play there, he looks better than Tierney playing there. Zinchenko, even though I don't think he's a great defender, going forward, he took us to a new level last season. And yeah, Tierney... I think if Arsenal get a good offer for Tierney at the end of the window, they'll sell him. That's my feeling. I think the way we want to play now, Tierney is an old school conventional left back who'll defend, he'll get on the overlap, he'll whip crosses in. If you want him to invert, get on the ball and play the way we want to play, he's not going to do that. So I think Tierney and the way we're playing it may be... I like him. I would like to keep him as a squad player. Is he going to be prepared to play as a squad player? The reality is Kieran Tierney is not Arsenal's best left back with the system that we've got. Zinchenko and Timber are probably better left backs in this system than Kieran Tierney, and it's all about systems. 5 years ago, maybe Tierney would have been our best left back, but right now he's not. He's not even our first or second, probably. And I like Tierney, but... it's a shame. It's the reality. Football's changed. We're playing a different way. So if you can keep El Neni, you can keep Tierney when going for tight. I hear you on that, but I wouldn't have kept El Neni. I would have got rid of El Neni. But El Neni has little to no value in terms of the transfer market. If you sold, didn't we get an offer of like £2 million for him? Where you would imagine you could get 30 million for Tierney. So it'll be interesting. But listen, let's round up, folks. An hour and 22 minutes. One thing we can all agree on. Yesterday was a good day for Arsenal Football Club. Regardless of what anyone else says, we won a piece of silverware. It was positive. I like the spirit. I like the fact we scored a goal after 100 minutes. That never give up attitude. And then we beat them on penalties. They won't be happy today, Man City. So use that as the building blocks for the season, And then what we have to do now is go and beat Man City in the league and show them what we're about. Forest on Saturday will be a tricky game, but if we play the way we can play, I expect us to beat them. We need to sell a few players. Tavares, Cedric, Lokonga, Pepe, Holding. These players still need to be moved on, in my opinion. I would like to see a couple of players brought in as well. If it's a keeper, maybe a right winger, and maybe a striker would be ideal. But listen, people, thank you very much for tuning in. Appreciate your support as always. 3,000 of you in the chat. Like the video on the way out. I will be back tomorrow. Should be back on at 2 p.m. tomorrow. And I'll catch up with you all then. Take care, everyone. Bless.